Prominent Senate Democrats, including Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and Patty Murray of Washington State, have this week stepped up their public pressure on President Biden to outline his plan in the event that the leaked draft opinion in the Supreme Court case of Dobbs v. Women's Health out of Mississippi emerges as the law of the land. Pro-choice activists want the president to commit to the declaration of a public health emergency and also to administration action to shield abortion providers at the state level from legal consequences. Minutes ago, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre addressed those demands.
The administration continues to explore every possible option in response to the anticipated Supreme Court decision in Dobbs, which would take away women's rights guaranteed for nearly 50 years under Roe v. Wade to make their own choices about their reproductive health. If the Supreme Court overturns Roe, we will need Congress to take action to restore Roe. I don't have anything else to share on that.
Then in yesterday's rainbow-studded Pride event in the East Room, President Biden signed an executive order instructing various cabinet agencies to strengthen services for the L.G.B.T.Q community, ranging from adoption rules and suicide prevention to enhanced security in public schools and access to quote-unquote gender-affirming surgery.
I don't have to tell you about the ultra-MAGA agenda attacking families and our freedoms. 300 discriminatory bills introduced in states across this country. In Texas, knocking on front doors to harass and investigate parents who are raising transgender children. In Florida, going after Mickey Mouse, for God's sake. That strike close to home. No, but think about this. All of you in this room know better than anyone that these attacks are real and consequential for real families. For real families.
Republican governors and state legislative leaders depict the laws that the president referenced not as anti-gay, but as pro-family, as bulwarks against the corruption of traditional education and as measures designed to protect religious liberty. However, the LGBTQ percentage of the general population and of the electorate is growing. Exit polling data from 2020 indicate the rainbow spectrum of voters helped put Mr. Biden in the White House. In the pivotal battleground state of Georgia, for example, the Biden-Harris ticket prevailed by a razor-thin margin of 49.5% to 49.3%. The Trump-Pence ticket captured 53% of the so-called straight vote. LGBTQ voters happen to make up 9% of the electorate in the Peach State, larger than the national average. But the former vice president still needed at least 88% of the voters in that community to turn out for him in order to win. And they did. Interestingly, President Trump doubled his support among the LGBTQ community in 2020, capturing an estimated 27% of that vote. That's interesting because it's the highest share ever recorded by a GOP nominee. Katrina and Bob.
Yeah, that is interesting. Thank you, James, and thanks for putting up with the what's that in the background today?
Jackhammer, maybe?
A jackhammer, whatever it is. Thanks for your concentration, James.